Character is fate. Character is the core of someone, right? There's something that they can't control. They can't consciously control, but subconsciously, it comes through their actions. Correct. And someone with high character is someone that's adaptable, someone's fluid, someone who's able to take criticism, someone who's able to take accountability, right? And what I mean by that is like, you know, if you do something wrong, you admit, it was like, that was my bad, I messed up, my fault, right? It's so hard for many people to say that, my fault, right? And because you put yourself in an inferior position, right? And our core animal desire, primal desires to have control, right? To have attention, right? So once we admit that we're wrong, we lose that control of ourselves, or we almost can't take it, right? We can't even it's almost unbearable. So we like to be control of things, right? We're control freaks. That's our human nature. And it's extremely hard for us to admit that we're wrong, right? Or admit that I have envy, or I have pride, or there's moments I made a mistake. I treated people poorly, and it's okay to admit that, right? It's not always have to be that person's fault. Like, why did that person react to me like that, right? Why did I do these kind of things, right? How can I be a better person? Keeping myself accountable, because as long as I keep looking externally that is their fault, then I will always be out of control of my life. My life will always be chaos. But when I blame everything on myself, when I put that accountability on me, then I can make changes in my life. Then I could have a different perspective, right? And I could work through the emotions in the process, and admitting to myself, I do have these flaws. I am not a perfect person, right? We're all not perfect, but just being consistent with my character, right? When I say I'm going to do something, I do it, right? Someone that's rational, right? I could give you an example. It's like, okay, I have a long-term goal, right? I want to have this business, this job, or this kind of relationship, or I want to complete these things in my life, right? Okay, I have this goal in my mind. What are the necessary micro goals I need to do to get to that point, right? So for example, it's like, okay, I want to have this kind of business, right? It's like, okay, what will I need to develop in myself to get to that point in my life, right? And I was like, okay, let me experiment. Let me try these different jobs, right? I'm not gonna go for the money exactly. I'm not gonna go for attention, but I'm gonna go for experiences, experimenting, having these different jobs and seeing what I like, what I don't like, right? And that's what you're learning, right? Instead of working at a job and just being depressed and like, this job sucks, and that's dead time, right? I choose a lifetime. That's what you should be choosing, a lifetime. The reason why you should be choosing a lifetime is, so for example, even if you're working at a job in McDonald's, you're constantly have an opportunity to learn. It's like, wow, you could be a cooker, but now you can see the dynamics of boss to employee, customer service, how the business is operated, the sufficiency, things that you like, what you don't like. There's so many things to learn around us, but we're not paying attention enough because we're so stuck in our egos and in our heads. We think everything's about us because we're naturally drawn to, we're naturally self-absorbed, right? We're all narcissists to a certain extent. We all are, right? It's all about us, right? But there's a difference between deep narcissism to healthy narcissism, right? And everyone should be pursuing healthy narcissism, right? It's like, yes, I am self-absorbed. I will admit that. I do have an ego. Yes, I do feel envy. But how can I take these qualities, right? They're not very soothing for me. How can I mold them into helping me? How can I use these feelings and emotions to my productivity, right? And that's extremely helpful, and that it creates a lot of good qualities in you when you do that, when you channel those negative emotions and you channel it for something good, right? For yourself, for your well-being. That's when progress happens. That's when changes happens. Someone with weak character is, of course, not able to take criticism, who lacks self-control, who says one thing but they don't do it, they don't take action in their lives. You often could see by their habits, their behaviors, right? You never follow anyone's words. Words were meant to deceive you. That was the purpose for words. Words were meant to trick you, deceive you. So you never follow someone's words, what they say. I don't care how they look, how they dress. You always follow their actions and their behaviors, because everyone leaves patterns, including me. We all leave patterns, what we do, right? You could look at my house, you could look at my car, you could look at my bathroom, right? And these little things, right? You got to realize, okay, if you see someone's bed unmade, it's like, okay, why is that person's bed unmade? You have to, what's something that's going on internally in them, right? Why you see a dish is overflowing and the house is a wreck? Well, there's something there that is being expressed that's going on internally in their world, right? And you have to be observant of people. That's why I've realized you got to be observant, and you have to realize character is fate, right? We're victims to our own character, right? You could change your life when you could change your character, but you need to keep yourself accountable. You need to realize your goals. You need to take action in your goals, because most people like to talk about their goals, but they don't take action in their goals. And that's how you build true confidence, is taking action and keeping yourself accountable, because then you know yourself, right? Then no one can move you. No one can shake you, right? And you're no longer looking at anything externally. You're self-reliant. You're self-validating your own self, right? You're reliant. And that's why I just realized this, reflecting back, and I think, character is fate, and there's so much truth to that. Heraclitus said that, one of the Stoics said that character is fate, and I always keep that in mind. You have to keep that in mind. So you want to be, not only you want to, have strong character, but you want to be around people that have strong character also, correct? Because then it gets infectious. Anyone you hang out with, you become them. So you have to be careful who you hang out with,